right, I think we got this set up for the most part. Mute that whole wheel. I don't need that either. Don't need that. I do need that. I'm going to keep that. Hello. My setup is not necessarily conducive to this particular type of live stream, but I'm going to try my best anyway. Prior to this, for those who are really interested, I have a... anyway, I was editing, as you can see right here. So I was working on my next review, which is of this sword. I wasn't sure I was going to use the thing, but it is what it is. I'm working on this review. Hopefully I'll have it out by next week. I think a Wednesday. As long as I can get this edited, Wednesday I will release this. But this particular sword right here is the one we're talking about. Excuse me, I'm suffering from a bit of a cold. This is the original Swordier Type 20A. Try to pull this out. I wonder if I have some light. So this sword is being edited right now for review. So we'll have that out. Like I said, as long as I don't botch up the recording, it's going to be, or the editing, it's going to be next week. Let's see, turn some lights on here. I don't know how much that helped, if anything at all, but it is what it is. We do have some swords to look at today. As you can probably see right over here, there are 5 swords from Swordier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And one that I have a short coming out later, but I want to show this one as well. This one comes from Swordis, specifically Shadow Dancer, and their light build. I will be working on a video for this one specifically for Swordis, but I figured I'd show it off too so you guys can see it. I'm just going to charge my phone, baby. Oh, girlfriend's whatever. Okay. Cool. I'm going to put on my gloves so I look like... Was it Michael Jackson who wore the white gloves? I can't remember. Probably should fit. But that way if I end up touching the blades or anything like that... I swear this one shrunk. This is the one I have been using. And it shrunk. Or something. I don't know. I didn't think this stuff could shrink, but apparently it can. So, it is what it is. All right. That's a mess. Anyway, let's start off with this one right here. This is the custom sword that I ended up getting from Swordis. So, Swordis contacted me, oh my goodness, months ago at this point, 2 months maybe, and asked if I'd be interested in doing... a review of their new Shadow Dancer Light sword builder. Thankfully, like, Swordis has been super great because I didn't order it right away. They gave me the code for it. So, disclaimer, I guess I should disclaimer for this because I did mark this video as including paid promotion. Because several of these swords are review swords. This one's a reviewed sword. I did not pay for this. This came directly from Shadow Dancer via Swordis' website and their Shadow Dancer Light. I did not pay for this one. I did not pay for, I think, these 3, if I'm guessing. So 3 of the 5 swords specifically, I did not pay for. And 2 of these I did pay for. So, it is what it is. So, 4 of the 6 swords we're looking at today, I did not pay for. They were sent for purposes of review. This one, like I said, came from Swordis. one of these came from Swordier, and two of them came from, I believe it's Swordier, courtesy of Paul Southern of Sword Buyer Guide, because they're Sword Buyer Guide exclusive swords. So thank you for those as well. They were made by Swordier, but they're exclusive to the Sword Buyer Guide website and forum. So that's where we're at. Either have swords peak. Guess they could add more customization options, but the newer Swordier stuff is pretty optimized on the price performance level. That's an interesting question. Have swords peaked? It's really hard to beat the Swordier prices. I mean, they're really good. And I know some people give me some, not me particularly, but they give some hard time about Swordier because they use 65 MN. I've honestly not had any issue with 65 MN. Like, it's supposed to be a Chinese equivalent of like 5160, I think, or something like one of those higher end sword metals. The manganese, I guess, is supposed to help with like durability, I guess. That's what I remember reading, and normally I would have studied ahead of time, but you kind of asked me this just sort of out of the blue, so I'm kind of going off my memory. I will tell you, the sword that I use the most, which is that Type 16A up there, the very first sword I reviewed, I have used extensively. I was just going to say, beat up and whatnot, but I really haven't. Like, I wasn't doing destructive testing or anything like that, but I did use it quite a bit. I use it a lot, and there are no visible issues with the blade. I'm just drawing a blank on what I want to say. No notches, no blade folding over, or anything like that. Nothing like that. Maybe some light surface scratches, but that just generally happens. And I mean, I've accidentally hit my sword stand more times than I care to admit. So it cut into hardwood, and have had no issues. So yeah, it's interesting. Now, for some of these Swordier ones, I know they're older and some are newer. The two that I bought are the newer models, and the other ones are older. But let's start with the Swordis model here. So this one is a katana that I specifically built on their sword builder, light sword builder, which I will do a full review on, and everything. I guess I should turn this way so people can see. But I got to build this one. My entire premise for using the Sword Builder Lite. So the Sword Builder Lite, for those who don't know what it is, Swordis for the longest period of time has had a custom katana builder where you pick the different fittings and different aspects of your katana, and they build it. It's not true custom. Like you're going to get a smith and doing all these pieces. So it's more, it's kind of like the Subway of sword builders, which I'm not saying that to be negative. I'm not. Don't take it that way. That's not what I mean. But when you do full custom work, if you've ever seen full custom work, the price is gonna be thousands of dollars, because of course everything has to be made to your specifications exactly. They have pre-built stuff essentially that you pick from. Oh, I like this fitting, I like this Ito wrapping, I like this Banuki, I like this Seppa, blah 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 blah. I like this Saya, I like this Sageo. That's kind of how they build it. So they already have pieces, you just put it together, like Build-A-Bear, something like that. What's a better alternative to Subway? I don't know, Build-A-Bear, Jersey Mike's, that's kind of what I mean by it. I do like to use the word custom because it sort of is. It's just, you really have to separate out a good hole-in-the-wall sandwich. That's true. There are a couple hole-in-the-wall sandwich shops here that are really good. But you don't, when you go to one of those places, they have all the ingredients laid out, and you just pick what you want. And that's essentially what this sword builder does. Now, they released a new one called the Shadow Dancer Light, which is... It has more condensed number of features, so there's not as many options to pick. And, excuse me, a more curated type of setup. But it allows them to keep the price down. So... those swords generally run somewhere in the $300 to $500 range. If you go for the Shadow Dancer Pro option, they have all the different features, and that can get up to several $1,000s. So there are certain things you can get with the Shadow Dancer Light that's meant to be more of a budget to mid-range type of sword builder. And it comes from Shadow Dancer, and Shadow Dancer has a really good reputation with their Japanese swords specifically, just for sharpness and how they handle. I hear people rave about them all the time. Call them semi-custom. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Now, when I built this, I wanted to do something a little different. Okay, so like everybody pretty much goes into Shinogi Zakuri style blades. It's the ones we see most often in like media. They offered a spring steel version, which lets you pick something other than Shinogi Shikuri blades. So I went with that. But I'll explain my thought process. It might be slightly hard to see. 1 second. I don't need this. As I said, the lighting in this room of mine is a bit more ambianced and not quite conducive to really nice lighting. So I'm going to just bring this handy-dandy flashlight here to shed some light on this blade if I can. As you could probably see here, the blade itself, I went with this black Samigawa and this dark blue leather wrapping. And you'll see there's a wave motif Manuki in there. And if I flip this around, I don't know if that's going to work out as well. Hold on, put that right there. Ah, there we go. It finally focused on the right thing. Oh, I got to get myself out here. There we go. So I went with this deep wave looking, not Manuki. I can't remember the exact name of the end cap. If anyone knows it off the top of their head, please. And you'll see here in the Suba, it's all this wave. I wanted to bring up this idea of a deep, dark ocean. I went with the navy blue Sageo and a dark blue with black speckled saya, just to kind of represent this deep ocean feel. Now, I'll tell you what. I have several katana over there. This is one of the lightest swords I have ever held. Like, it is insanely light. I didn't weigh it. I'll weigh it during the review. I can only just tell you from my hands, it feels so... Like, even in the saya, it's so light. My son wanted to look at it. He's like, is it heavy? I said, no. So he even just picked it up while it was in the saya and went, whoa, that is so light. Excuse me. It is an insanely light sword. An insanely light sword. Starts with a Kashira? Is that it? Kashira, maybe? Maybe it's Kashira. All my Japanese sword practitioners are over there slapping their foreheads going, come on, man, you should know this. But I haven't studied any kind of Japanese swordsmanship in like 20 years, so I don't remember all the names off the top of my head. But anyway, as I was saying, what I went with is a blade that they often call, which is nicknamed Kogaratsu, but it's like Kasaki Mahora Zakuri. It is the double-edged sword. The double edge, which it does come with a bohi and sohi, which I always like when there's a bohi and sohi, all the way through, all the way up the blade, and then it goes into this particular double-edged sword that you see right here, which I think is really cool. this sword is so stupidly light. It is insane. It is crazy. But yeah, I figured everyone who was invited to do this would do the standard shinogi. So when they offered something different like this blade geometry, that's what I jumped on. I don't want to give too much of a spoiler type alert, but I do have some issues, and I reached out to some of my sword friends, Matt Jensen and Gargoyles Blade, if you check out their channels, to talk about this, because I was trying to find in history. In reality, Shadow Dancer didn't sharpen the false edge. Like, this is so smooth. It's not sharp at all. It's blunt. Now, this last inch or so, half inch, that's sharpened for the point, but they did not sharpen the false edge on the back. And I was trying to find out if that was historical or not. And everything that I see in any article I find of like the little crow tashi and stuff like that, they were supposed to be sharpened on both ends. Like, this was supposed to be sharp all the way back to here. This one is not. So I don't know if that's a Shadow Dancer thing. Or, excuse me, or what. So that was a little disappointing, but it's still a beautiful sword. And I'm very excited to get to talk about it, because this thing is just... It is the lightest katana I own. Probably the only one who might be able to compare in weight would be this one right here, which is the Bugay Raptor series. And as I pick it up, it is more heavy than I thought. This is my Bugay Raptor. I've had this for like a decade or more. This one is... I cannot remember the geometry name. I'll hide this one real quick. I will say, in terms of saya, there's like no rattle at all. This thing fits so snugly. It's beautiful. Now, it's not so tight that it's hard to get out. You could pop it out with the thumb that you often see people do. But this is probably one of the snuggest saya fits I've ever had. It's beautiful. I love it. So other than the historical inaccuracy, I believe, of not having the sharpened false edge on this particular blade geometry, the blade itself is both beautiful and insanely light. But the one that I have right here, which is probably my second lightest katana. Now, this one is very messy. This is sadly one of the few swords that I got that was left in a very damp basement while I was moving, and therefore it has, issues with surface rust. They call it the cormorant neck. See how it goes wider here and then thins out all the way up to the point here, that little diamond point. Again, it has a name in Japanese that I don't remember, near the Kasaki anyway. So that's it. Joshua White. Thoughts on the Albion Maximilian? I'm thinking of buying one. I bought a cheap sword from Swordier, but I also want a flagship piece to keep forever. Fair. And I like that mindset, because I have one Albion and 2 Valiant Armories up there, and I actually have 2 more Albions coming. I've never held the Maximilian. So let's preface this where I've never held it. However, I know some people who have. One of the best ones, and I recommend you go check out his video on it if you haven't already, but Matthew Jensen did a review of the Maximilian. The Maximilian is a big sword, and I don't know how big of a person you are there, Josh, but it's a big sword. It doesn't handle like a long sword. It handles like a real great sword, like Montante, Spadona, those types of things. So that it's supposed to be kind of the closest thing to a Type 20, which I normally would love, but it's not really, because a Type 20 was a long sword, and the Maximilian is closer to a full greatsword, kind of like a weird bridge gap between the two. And as Matthew Jensen said in one of his videos, and I think it's true, he's like, with some swords, it feels like, they become an extension of your arm, whereas this sword, it feels more like a dancing partner that you have to learn to dance with. It's different. I do have an Albion mercenary up here, and I will say there's nothing quite like when you feel an Albion in your hand. It does feel really good. So, that's kind of my thought on it. Like, I've eyed up the Maximilian as well, but I've not really pulled the trigger on it. So, all right, let's go ahead and move to one of these swords that we're going to open up. We'll open up this first one here. And I understand that the way I have this set up, it's not great. This is normally my editing station, my gaming station, so it's not really set up for live streams specifically for sword opening. So we're going to do the best that I can. I don't know who that is. I'm going to X that. My phone's ringing. If you guys have questions while I'm attempting to, defeat the box boss, please let me know. I will do my best to answer as I go along. Again, as I said before, that sword that I just showed you, the one from Swordis, that is a sponsored sword. I did not pay for that. That is part of... there will be more videos coming out on that one soon. That one was a review sample, however, so keep that in mind. As well as 3 of these 5 Swordier swords are review samples. One from Swordier and 2 from Sword Buyer's Guide. They're exclusive from Swordier. So Swordier makes them, Sword Buyer Guide owns them. So just keep that in mind. I'll explain it, which ones they are, as I get to them. Yeah, appreciate the input. Yeah, no problem. I mean, I would love to have a Max. Let's put it this way, Josh. If someone said, "Hey, here's a Maximilian. If you'll use it, you can have it," I'd be like, "Set me up some targets right now." I would use it. I would definitely use it. And if I could get one at a discount, I would probably get it. But I don't think I personally would spend the money on it because I do not enjoy like Montante style swords myself. I don't, and I think that would weigh into it. But I mean, if I had unlimited income where it was like I could do whatever I wanted, yeah, I might just have one just to have one. It is what it is. All right. Okay. So this one, if I remember correctly, this sword right here is the Swordier one. One comes right from Swordier. So I'll show you the scabbard first off. It does come in a really nice scabbard. Once again, they didn't have a belt with it, which I'm actually kind of glad. The belts that they come with, I'd rather them just give the scabbard, and those of us who want to wear it probably already have our own suspension system in place or would make one for it. I would rather just have the scabbard that allows it. Great swords and dance partners. That it's definitely the best analogy I've heard in a long time. It is like when you're moving with Montante, it does look like a dance, and you have to treat the sword like it's its own entity. With long swords, they feel like they're an extension of your arm. But with those swords, it feels like when you're moving them, you're learning to move with it. For me, it's like 1 to 2 months. Shipping's been crazy because tariffs and all that. Oh yeah, tariff stuff. Yeah. How long did it take you to receive your swords from Swordier? I ordered the 1006. These are not a good example. Okay, I'm going to say this right off the bat. These are not a good example because one of these, and I'm thinking it's this one, is the custom Type 20 that I had helped design, and then they made for me. I'll get to that one when we get there. All these other ones were ready to ship a while ago once we got the okay, but I told Alex just send them all in one batch so that we were only dealing with customs once, rather than everything. So I want to say when I ordered other swords from Swordier, it was less than a month in most cases. It was a couple weeks. I think it was 2 weeks to 4 weeks is generally how long it got, and unless I ordered one from the USA warehouse, in which case it was like 3 days. But I live on the East Coast of the US, so if they came from China, it took almost a month. Anyway, so here's the scabbard for it. I do like these little risers in the scabbard. They don't have it on the back end, but it does have normal stitching. It's got this little chape on here. I will say I could see the glue on the chape. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but you could see the glue. It's like a lot. I would imagine it's probably just hot glue, to be honest. That's what it looks like. It looks solid on there, but it is a little thicker than what I would expect a chape needed to be. Again, it's not a huge criticism. It's just a criticism that I'd have. It doesn't really do anything else for the sword. Otherwise, it's nicely shaped. Does feel like wood. It is most definitely wood. They didn't paint the inside of it or anything like that, so it is most definitely a wood scabbard. I'm guessing either pine or maybe bamboo. I don't know. Probably pine. All right. Caution. Injure of hand. Understood. Got it. This is one of the Witcher swords. So let me pull off the stuff here. Hope to get it before Christmas. Oh, yeah. So much oil rags. Can I just pull this off? Huh. So this is a unique looking blade. So this is supposed to be, I think, representative of their silver sword. So we got the wolf. Or no, griffin. This is the griffin sword. That's a griffin icon on this. I will say it's so interesting because while they have the this is textured leather, like what you see on Valiant Armory and Albion, but the difference is they stitch it on the back instead of putting it over the way Albion does. It does have a metal riser right here in the center. The wheel pummel looks beautiful, and the griffin has a lot of detail in it. Like, that's a lot of detail. Oh, let me see if I can hold it with the light. That's a lot of detail in that griffin. The blade itself looks like a very, very narrow, maybe type 12? 12A. It's definitely more narrow than what I was expecting. Maybe even a type, no, not, maybe a type 18A, maybe. The point is fairly acute. I wouldn't say it's needle-like, like type 15s or type 17s. But it's kind of hard to tell because I'm wearing gloves. I think the blade did come sharp. I could feel it through the glove, but it's not so sharp that I'd be super worried. The blade edge, though, I don't know if you'll be able to see this the best way I can. It's got some width to it. Now, it does look like it has distal taper. It's a little heavier than I was expecting, but it definitely feels light. Like, it feels good for the weight. I think probably some of the weight has to do with the cross guard, which most definitely looks like it's from The Witcher, obviously, for a silver sword. But you'll see here, it's very thick right here. So this cross guard is very, very thick. But I actually I do like it. I like it a lot. Now, yeah, lightning bolts. And this matches The Witcher. If you've ever played the video game The Witcher, it is interesting. Now, one thing I wanted to note, and I thought this was fascinating, they have a maker's mark on it. That maker's mark is not a mark I recognize. So I don't know where they outsource this from. Swordier doesn't use this maker's mark. So I don't know what this horse and sword thing is. Maria! Sword Day, yes. But overall, I love the shape of the grip. The textured leather, I could feel the texture even through the cotton gloves. This one's going to be, I think this will be a lot of fun to cut with. It feels really, it's heavier than I was expecting it to be, but it feels good. Oh my goodness. This is probably one of the, okay. So you know how I said it felt sharp, but not so sharp? I just realized I cut through my glove while I was touching it. So it's sharper than I thought. But yeah, this is nice. This is really nice representation of a Witcher sword. It really, really is. I feel like I should text my one buddy. Take my glove off at this. Want to text my buddy. He should, Ow. Witcher sword. I think that is a win. That's the winless maker mark. Okay. Yeah. If anyone can tell me what that is. The horse and the sword, which it's kind of neat. This feels really good. Honestly, more than I was expecting it to, because again, this was a sword that I requested. I don't normally request samples normally. I normally like to buy my swords and then give reviews, because then at least it feels like the reviews I give are, not biased in any way. But I like to buy swords that are non-fantasy. And when I saw these, I was playing The Witcher 3, and I'm like, I would love to review those, because Witcher 4 is coming out, and I think that'd be a good selling point. But I was expecting them to be unwieldy, because they are a fantasy sword. But this feels really good. Better than I was expecting. And I will do an official weigh-in of this at some point, especially when I do the full review. But it's nice. That's real nice. All right. I'm going to take my gloves off here as I switch this over. I know, I'm all over. Let's see how well it fits in the scabbard. Okay. So, the first issue we have, it doesn't fit in the scabbard well. I could probably force it in, but I already heard the wood crack. So, I'm imagining the scabbard is... this is going to take me some forcing in. One thing I didn't notice. It has a griffin on the scabbard. That's really cool. All right, so that's a little bit of a negative there. I'm going to set this aside. But it is what it is. All right, put that down. Any recommendation for great sword like the Maximilian? I do, Josh. This one right back here. But you'll have to wait till the end, okay? More of a bias because gifts. There's a difference between reviewer's eye and an owner's eye. Okay, more than a. It's true. It's true. Though I feel like I myself would have the integrity. Like I'll give you a spoiler. You know how much I spoke up their Type Swordier's Type 16A. And I loved it. That was I bought that one, and I did love it. This review sample that I got of the Type 20A, spoiler, it's aggressively mid. Like, that's the only way I could say. It's not so bad where it's one of those, like, it doesn't even feel like a sword. It does. I'm just not impressed with it. And I reflect that in the review. I'm like, it's meh at best. It looks nice, but in terms of a sword, it's meh. So, you know, and I feel like that's, if you're going to look at stuff like that, you know, my credibility only goes so far of if I talk up a sword and my viewers look at it and then they get it and they say, this thing is garbage. Why do you say it's the best thing in the world? That's only going to hurt me. So I have to build my own integrity with that. Yeah, Midtown USA. Yeah, the floral theme mid Type 20A from Swordier is Midtown at best. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not overly impressed with it. I'm not. And it has some other issues, which I don't want to give away too many spoilers. I want people to watch the review when it comes out next week. So, you know, definitely be on the guard for that. But, you know, it is what it is. But just because I got that as a review sample doesn't mean I'm going to talk well about it. But, you know, like, that particular one we just looked at, it felt really, really good. Like, really good. Especially for a fantasy type blade. So, all right, let's open up the next one here. All right. Midtown USA. I like that. Starting to not think I don't have enough room. Okay. So this one I think is definitely the Sword Buyer Guide exclusive one. So I'm gonna keep that in mind when you look at this one. Again, comes with a scabbard, same shape, same stitching on the back, same leather, which actually does look pretty good. But look at those risers in the scabbard. Like, they look really, really good. And a little hint as to which this one is. This is the Sword of the White Wolf. As I attempt to get the plastic condom off of this thing. This is definitely a Type 12 blade. Once again, it feels really good in the hands. This one's even lighter. I'll start here at the top. It's got the emblem of the wolf on it. So you can see. The leather wrapping, once again, they did stitching on the back. It's got a metal riser here, but they did this mottled brown. You could actually see there's some real modeling on it to make it look more worn. Yeah, this one's very nice, and it feels nice. It feels like a real sword. The peen job, just like the last one, is they have a peen block. It looks really, really good. It's got an S-shaped crossguard. I don't have any with S-shaped crossguards. They chamfer this section down. I see so many times when people make S-shaped crossguards, it has a ridge here. So if you're doing German style, it's hard. They smooth that down. Which looks really, really cool. Again, we got that same maker's mark. The horse and the... But the blade itself looks like a Type 12A because it's got a long fuller almost the entire way down to the tip. I think that's a 12A. I'd have to look at my oak shot typology. A fairly nice tip. There's no reinforcement in the tip, but it is more of an acute tip. It does feel lively in the hand, and I think it's because of this wheel pummel feels solid. Again, out of the box, it feels sharp. I don't know if I'd say it's paper cutting sharp, but it feels sharp, that's for sure. It's a long blade. But there we go. Again, it has that same grip as the other one does, and it is very, very nice. All right, let's see if this one fits better into the scabbard. Again, this is a wood coarse scabbard again. But, all right. You know, one thing I didn't even check. Sometimes swords fit, they're designed to fit one way into a scabbard. I don't... All right, same issue with this scabbard as the other one. The scabbard and blade don't seem to want to fit. Let me try flipping it around just to see. I can tell you one thing right off the bat. If you look at this, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. The scabbard's already cracking because the sword's too big for the scabbard. All right. I could force it in, but the scabbard definitely cracked on the side in order to allow it in. So that's a little bit of a negative there. But fits better. Now, I'm going to try moving this one over as well, just because I want to see if I can get it out. Now that I pushed it in. All right, let's see. All right. So it does look like there's a right way to fit it in, because that went in a lot easier. And maybe they'll loosen their way up. The one thing I noticed on this particular one, the right way seems to be with the stitching on the outside, which kind of sucks since the griffin's also here. That's all we got there. All right, next sword. Again, I'm not sure which one of these is the Sword Buyer Guide exclusive. Maybe they're making it in a very... That would cause expansion. They would ship it to wetter areas. You know, yeah, climate does have something to say about it. So you're right. Wood does tend to, flex a little bit over time. Especially if it's not dried properly. They fit in the scabbard. Okay, so I don't have any qualms with it, but it just feels like you could tell it wasn't fit as well as it probably could have been. So, you got to take that as you will. But yeah, if you definitely live in different climates or climates that are tend to fluctuate a bit more, like I noticed, my dad and I made a scabbard for my mercenary. I'm going to show you right here. It's his first attempt. He did really good with the first attempt. And it fit very nicely. There was some rattle in it because there's a lot more room inside than not. But the one thing that happened is once it started getting into, we made that in the summer, and when we made it into the winter, the wood started to not warp, but expand and contract and whatnot. It actually fell off the sword. It doesn't fit the sword right now. I'd have to shim it in order to get it to fit. So yeah, your climate will pay a little bit of role in whether or not your scabbards and stuff fit snugly all the time. All right, third sword. Okay, no, this is the sword buyer guide one. Those other two, I think, are from Swordier. You can get off their website, and one of them you can only get through Sword Buyer Guide. LK Chen scabbards are always loose for me. Swordiers are fine. Hanbons are fine. Romance of Men are also fine. Yeah, all the Swordier ones I ever got were really good. So, this one is the Sword of the White Wolf. Slightly different color. They got this little leather thing up here. Stitching across the back. This stitching is a bit more pronounced. Like there's a pretty big ridge here. The other ones, it was harder. You could feel it, but it was harder. This one's a big ridge. Looks like a slightly thinner shape, but it's there. Again, it looks like the same pine wood structure for the scabbard. So it's a wood scabbard. It's got some nice imprinting here on the leather. I don't know what the leather feels like because I'm wearing gloves. It looks okay, but it doesn't really have a real strong leather scent. So if it's leather, it's definitely a low grade and it's very thin. But looks nice for what it is. All right. Oh, great. Twist ties. Make it hard on me. Interesting note on your XXA. Now I'm curious that my custom should be nearly identical, but mine was geared much plainer. Sounds like the options match. Tuss, did you do a Type 20A custom one too? Okay. Ooh. This one's a lot heavier than any of the other ones I've done so far. This one, actually, Josh, since you mentioned it, this has the double blade fullering that the Maximilian does. I'd definitely say this is probably more akin to a Type 20 than any of the other swords. We'll start here at the top. Crossguard and a scent stopper. This looks metal and attached. It does look like this was slid onto this. Like this doesn't look like a solid piece. Got this triple thing right here. This one is probably meant to look more like the video game than any of the other ones. The other ones were more inspired by. Even the one with the lightning crossbow, more inspired. Maybe it's closer. Excuse me. It's got twisted metal quillions here. But this center section is super thick. This one definitely feels a lot heavier. And there is some distal tapering. Not a lot, though. Blade looks like it has a nice apple seed edge to it. I don't see a secondary bevel, or at least a very minor one. Same maker's mark. So these must have been outsourced to a different forge than the Swordier forge. No, this is not the one I'm talking about, Josh. This one is a Sword Buyer Guide exclusive. Have you tried lining your scabbard? No, I have not. I might have to felt line the one we made. This one's not. This one feels very heavy though. I'm just sort of moving it around here in my hand a little bit. It doesn't feel super top heavy, but more so than the other one did. But it's actually, I do like this setup. There's a lot of detail in this crossguard, more than I was expecting. Let's see if it fits in the scabbard. Ouch. Feels a little tight. That one fits way better, though. Way. Yeah, Winless might have. They might have. There's some weird... I don't know how best to describe it. And I don't know... this is just my initial thoughts. Obviously, I'll look at these later. This one is peened. I see some errant hammer marks, but again, from the price, it's not too bad. The thing that concerns me is these pieces they look like they're done very piecemeal and then put together. Like, one of the reasons why is, and maybe you don't notice this as much when you do leather scabbards, but if you look right here, there's it almost looks like this slid into the crossguard. I don't feel rattled. It feels super solid, so it may just be a visual thing to me. It's just a little odd. So, those are the 3 Witcher swords, though. There will be a review coming out for those. All right, so those are all the swords that were review samples. These next ones are mine. I bought these. Okay? Yeah. Okay, Tusk. That's this one right here. And this is the one, Josh, I want you to look at when I get to it. Give me a second. All right, this is the next one. As I knock stuff over. These are ones that I bought myself, so therefore there's no bias in it. I bought them myself. Comes with a scabbard, as all Swordier stuff does. Stitching up the back. And a little cross right there. Metal chape. What appears to be the Habsburg eagle from the Holy Roman Empire, something very similar to that, but it's embossed in the leather. I think that's the word you use, embossing. Got little rain flaps here at the top. And again, it's another hardwood scabbard. It looks like a different kind of wood, though. From the pine. It might still be pine. It just looks different. Excuse me for all the coughing. I do like the warning on here. There's a little warning sticker. It says, this is not a toy. Misuse can result in death or serious injury. For display purposes only. Not intended for use in actual weapon or combat device. I don't think that's accurate, but, I mean, it's a way of covering your butt, I guess. Oh my god. Ow. I need a bigger room. Alrighty then. This one is one of the newer model Type 20As. They say this is a Type 20, but I'd say it looks more like an A to me. Where they say it's a mixture of Type 20 and a Type 18B. And I think they get that because of the way the handle is. It didn't matter. Type 20s could have had this handle as well. Yeah, so it's got a ring or a unique looking wheel pommel, disc pommel. Got a decent peen on the back, what it looks like. Did a really good job with that. I do like the cross guard. And once again, we've got that maker's mark. I'm curious if Swordier has now adopted that as their maker's mark. Because this is a newer model. But this is Type 20. Big boy. And it is long. No reinforcing on the tip, though the tip does have a secondary bevel, which I can see. So they took extra time sharpening the tip. Which model is this one, Josh? Hold on, let me find out for you. I want to get you the right model number. This is the sort by, not price, low to high. Oh, well, yeah, this one's fine. This is the SWMZ 1010. 1010. So this is what they call the SWMZ 1010 Swordier European Longsword Sharpened Type XX blade. It's more like an XXA, but whatever. Type 18B hilt, hand carved details is what they call it. It does have wire wrapping on it, which is neat. It's heavier than I was expecting. I haven't weighed it yet, but it doesn't feel unwieldy. It actually feels really nice in the hands, even though it is heavier. Now here, I'll show you. For reference, I'm 6 foot tall on the dome. So I'm going to sit it here with the point on the ground. I'm going to stand up. You can't even see it because of how the camera's set up. At 6 foot tall, this goes above my chest. This is a long sword. It is big. It is very big. Okay? So at 6 foot tall, this sword is up to here. It's a big sword. It's a real big sword. Let's see if it fits in the scabbard. If you don't use Imperial's measurement, well, that sucks to be you, I guess. I don't know. It's definitely tight in the scabbard. It ain't coming loose, but it fits. That is really, really cool, though. Really big sword. Really big sword. I don't have enough room. I guess that's a real problem to have, right, guys? I don't have enough room for all the swords in my collection. This next one, I am so excited for. This next one right here, and Josh, this is the one I was referring to. I want to preface this. If you watch the announcement video, I was credited with helping to assist develop this sword. I gave some input to Alex on historical basis, provided some graphs on distal taper, things like that. So he credited me with helping develop this sword. Okay? This model is available on their store right now. It is the SWMZ 1013 Swordier Upgraded Type 20A. Dialtrix said it was, oh, sweet. Yeah, I saw he had it. The blade definitely looks like it'd be a good thrusting sword. I'm like opening this one gingerly because I've been waiting for this one for like a year now. But we will stab myself with the little knife. This one I'm excited about. Again, I paid to have this sword made, And this started out as a custom request, which ended up becoming a model they now sell. Okay, so I was wondering how similar the upgraded version. It's a 1-for-1 copy because it was my design that I talked with them about building is what inspired them to build this particular sword. They did go their own way with fittings. I don't think I would have went with the double rings myself, but I think it looks good. But the blade itself was what I had described in my custom request. Ooh. Ooh. Don't mind me, I'm getting a little weepy over here. I don't have enough room. All right. So here's the sword belt. I do like the graphics they put on it. I love the color. The shape is shiny. The color's nice. The stitching on the back's a bit pronounced, but it's okay. I'm going to have to switch these over because I'm left-handed. But the sword belt suspension system. Yeah, the size is a good match for me, Tusk. Yeah, I'm 6 foot tall. I like bigger great swords of war. Not great swords of war. Type 12A, type 13A, 20, 20A, 18B. I like great swords of war. Because I'm, other than being a little fatter than I should be, a lot fatter than I should be, I am a pretty big dude overall, like shoulder width. I'm pretty wide. My family tends to be pretty big. My dad, he's a beast of a man. So I like the bigger swords, and my body type fits bigger swords. Is a deal. Otherwise, a beautiful looking sword. Yeah. Yeah, that's. They did the double ring, and they thought that would be fitting. I'm not real fond of double rings myself, but it is what they go. But all right, let's pull this out. Oh my! I'm just gushing over here real quick. Don't mind me. Oh, dear goodness. Oh, my. All right, so for 4 pounds, this does not feel like 4 pounds. I was considering that model, but right now I'm not doing enough cutting to justify another sword, also saving for a PC upgrade. Understood. But I'm sorry, I'm just gushing over this thing because it is. Oh, it feels so good in the hand. This is actually, it's not the lightest sword that I have by far, but it feels good. Oh my. That pink. This is what now this one is custom. They did this for me. This isn't an offering that they do. You'll have to make custom requests for this. Look at the blade. Hold on. It's not doing it justice in this light. Hold on. They did a pattern weld on this sword. This light, guys, this is not doing it justice. This light is terrible, and I am sorry for that. But oh my goodness. This sword right. Oh, this is nice. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about these Quillians. But it feels like the. Honestly, I'm starting to like the double ring now. My only issue would be whether or not they would let me use this in competition because of the double rings. Oh my. Oh my. Okay. The point, it's a little hard to see, but it is a reinforced point. There is, yeah, they reinforce that point a bit. So, not quite as much as, say, like the Albion Mercenary that has a pretty strong reinforcement. But, let me see if I can do this. Trying to get the point. That's a little hard. I'll try to get it. But yes, they have the reinforcement on this. So that point is not likely to snap off because it's thicker than you would imagine. Oh, dear goodness. So yeah, the wire wrap looks really nice. I like how they did that. Sorry, I'm kind of speechless at the moment because this sword is just... The blade turned out so beautifully. Like, oh my goodness. Those triple fullers. Oh my. I like the... What's writ on the grip itself looks really nice too. Grip feels great. I'm like, part of this comes into bias because I did help design this one. So when I do a review of this sword, I'm probably not going to score it just because I think that would be unfair. But, oh, wow. It looks so nice. It looks so nice. Yeah, those are all the swords I got. But, yeah, let's see if it fits in the scabbard. Sword looks like it was made for you. Yeah, oh. Actually, honestly, someone asked me about weight. I feel like I could use this in one hand. Like, it is balanced up. I could use this in one hand. I really could. Oh, my. Oh, my, oh, my. Feel like I need to take the vapors. Woo. I know I'm gushing, but I've been waiting for this sword for so long. I prefer the harder targets. I go with cans over water bottles. Yeah, I thought about it. I think this sword, it's got enough girth in it that it could handle hard targets. Oh my. Oh my, oh my. Oh, and this one fits so well into the scabbard. That's it. That's it. Yours goes through like a razor. Nice. Which one did you get, Tusk? I mean, the Type 16 goes through like nuts, but this sword is beautiful. Like I said, I'm not real sure about the double rings, but my original thought was if I really didn't like them, I could probably take my tack welder, cut them off, and then sand it down. But I don't know how much weight they add. So losing that weight would probably mess with the dynamics. The one thing I am going to note, because I have another sword over here that has one singular side ring on it. they did not smooth it out. Every aspect is polished. This is baby bottom smooth. Oh my goodness, they polished even the inner ring. They did such an amazing job with this sword. I honestly can't wait. I wish it wasn't dark outside. I'd go outside and cut with it right now. Oh my goodness. It's I do like this fluted grip. I like scent stopper pummels. This is a very German aesthetic, a late German aesthetic. Maybe a little later time period than what I probably would like generally. I like 14th, 15th, early 15th century stuff. And this might be a little later than that, but it looks so good. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's all the swords I got today. Out of curiosity, which was your favorite? Like, I mean, honestly, I'm a little biased by this one because I helped design it. This was a custom one made for me. So I'm very biased on this one. So I'm going to exclude this one from my personal pick. Honestly, my favorite of the bunch would probably be the katana from Swordis, even though I don't really like katanas. I did help design that one, but how light it was is really, really nice. If I were to pick from The Witcher or all the other swords, probably my favorite was the rendition of the silver sword from The Witcher. That one I think probably felt the best of all of them. 1010 was your favorite. Nice. Yeah, Josh, if you were honestly, since you said you're looking for a great sword, I mean it's narrow, but that 1010, if you don't like double rings, I mean obviously I'm biased towards this one. I think the whole package together is beautiful, but I'm obviously biased towards this one, so I'm not gonna push you too hard on this one. But the 1010, if you like big swords, that's a nice one. I do like the 1010. I'm gonna put the 1010 up here. It definitely feels heavier, but the 1010 is also quite a bit bigger. Look at this. The 1010 has 5 inches of blade on my sword. The 1010 is huge. I like the heavy double, like. Oh, you did think about buying the, yeah, like if you didn't like the rings, honestly, if you had a tack welder or something like that, you could cut the rings off and then just repolish it smooth to get rid of the rings if you really wanted to. It's a thought. It's definitely a thought. But yeah, I was actually amazed at this one because this sword is big. This sword is massive. Again, at 6 foot tall, this is boob height. This one is neck height. Again, neck height versus it's big. And again, with the context of how tall I am, you can see this sword is huge. Absolutely massive. It does feel heavier though. Even in the scabbard, this one feels lighter. This one's actually, I think, the heaviest of the bunch, to be honest. Let me look at that. They said this one weighs over 4 pounds. It doesn't feel like it. Oh, let me just look here real quick. On their website, this one says it weighs 4.03 pounds. Now, I did have this with a pattern welded blade, and Alex has told me pattern welded blades tend to be lighter, which is true because my Type 20 or Type 16A is a pattern welded version, and that one is a lot lighter. Let me find this one. The 1010 from Swordier is Weight without scabbard. All right, this is the only time they put it in grams and not pounds. Hold on. I have to look at it now as I take my gloves off. New Zyway is like 4 kg. Okay. Gram to pounds. Yes, I know I'm using the industrial or imperial, but I don't care. 1960. Okay, so it is heavier. 4.3. So that one, it is heavier. That one's probably the heaviest one, 4.3 pounds. Don't know how many are on the market, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, see, again, I don't want you guys to think I'm super biased. I am, because I made this one. I'm not lying to you when I said this one feels so light in the hand. I feel like I could use this as a single-handed sword. Now, obviously, it's not a single-handed sword. You can do better with a single-handed sword. I'm not stupid. I understand that. But I could. And I'm pretty strong. I could probably do it with the other one, too. But it feels clunkier. This one has movement that just feels good. I don't know what they did with this one particularly, but yeah. So that one's 4.32 pounds. Mine is 4.03 pounds. So this thing's got almost a quarter pound weight on it, but it also does have 5 inches of blade on it too. The blade is more narrow on the 1010 than on the 1013, but you know, it is what it is. So, yeah, I love how the sword rings. Someone just commented, I love how the sword... I'll have to read that person afterwards. Some comments on the YouTube channel. I always try to help out. But yeah, no, I really like... Of the Witcher swords, I'm trying to move things around here. Sorry, let me do some movement here real quick, guys. I'm going to put the Swordis sword away because I do have to do a review on this one for Swordis. So I want it in as pristine condition as I possibly can for them. This Swordis katana is probably the lightest thing. Get some... I will, man. I will. I have tatami mats and everything ready. I just got to... I'll put some cutting footage together. Thank you guys so much. For being here. I think I'll end the live stream now because I'm going to go gush about this sword and, you know, obviously probably make noises that would get me banned on YouTube. Read into that what you will. But this one, this Witcher sword right here, the one, this one is on the Swordier site. This one is the... The SWAZ 1002. This sword is very light, and this is probably my favorite, both of the feel of all the Witcher swords that I have here. All the Witcher swords that I have. The silver one, the supposed silver one, obviously not made of real silver, is definitely my favorite. All right, guys, I'll let you guys go. I've done my live stream. It was fun. Dear goodness, do I love that sword. And I will have full reviews of all of them with the exception of the custom one. I'll do a standard review video, but I'm not going to score it because I have personal interest in it. I don't get paid, just so everyone's aware, I don't make money off that sword in any way. If you buy one, I don't get kickbacks. Swordier designed it. I just gave input, so I helped on. So I have a personal connection because I helped make it more historically accurate to Type 20As that I love. So take that in mind. There's no benefit to me personally if you buy the 1013. None whatsoever, other than personal pride in knowing that I had a small input in the design of the blade. So, but I still feel like I have a personal interest, so I'm not going to rate it or score it. I'm just going to do my standard review of it and go from there. But the other ones I will rate and review for you guys here in hopefully the near future. The next review, which will be on the original Type 20A, I'm editing up now, so hopefully early next week you'll see it. And then I'm going to do the Swordis katana, and then I'll start working on the other stuff. So, guys, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for chatting. And I see Josh, appreciate you. I'm new to swords, so it's great seeing community. Oh, I do love the sword community in general. Yeah, by all means, if you've got questions, all of us are very much just right there. So more than happy to help. Josh, I do have a Discord. If you want to talk swords, you can come in and talk swords. It's in the description somewhere. And obviously I'll give you guys input and we can talk about it and just in general talk about swords. So guys, thank you. Have a good night.